The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hiya, Casey. What's the good word?
Premise on the cranifran.
Premise on the cranifran? What kind of talk is that?
That's double talk, Tony.
Well, I don't know anything about double talk, but I do know a good single talk when I hear it.
What's good single talk?
Well, it's straight facts like this. Anchor Hocking is the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Martin. And every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of the great city. Our adventure tonight, the case of the blonde lipstick. It's 9 o'clock in the evening at the Blue Note Cafe. Too early for the late crowd, and the daily crowd has gone to dinner. The place is practically deserted when...
Hey, Ethelbert!
Greetings, Ethelbert.
Casey, Miss Williams.
2 bottles of beer, pal.
Coming up. Here you are, Casey. I was hoping you'd drop in.
Yeah? What's up? Why?
Yeah, well, there was this dame looking for you.
Dame? What?
I don't know her name because she didn't mention it. But she really wasn't no dame. She was class.
Class of 1898?
Oh, no, Miss Williams. She was young. And when I say she has class, I mean... it's not really what she had. It's the way she used it. You know, class.
I take it, Ethelbert, she was good looking.
Yeah.
Well, what's she want with me?
I don't know, Casey. Yeah, I kind of asked myself that, but, not that I didn't inquire. She comes in and asks me, she says that if I would point out Casey, the photographer for the Morning Express. Yeah, and with a note of regret in me voice, I says, I would if I could, lady, but Casey ain't among those present.
But then you probably said, is there anything I can do for you, lady?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Well, you told me she was very pretty.
Sure. Now, wait a minute, Casey. I wasn't trying to cut in on you or nothing. Okay. I only asked her, is there anything I can do for you? And she says to me, oh, no. I want to see Mr. Casey. It's rather personal. And so I told her you'd be around about this time, and she said she'd come back.
So you don't know her angle?
Oh, she didn't have no angle, Miss Williams. She sounded more like she admired Casey from afar.
Well, don't choke, Annie. What's so funny about that?
Oh, act your age, Casey. Come on.
Well, she did tell Ethelbert that her business was personal.
Oh.
And the way she said it, men can tell about things like that.
Yeah, maybe a case of hero worship, you know? Lots of girls go for big names. You stick around and see. Maybe after
Casey! Hey!
What's the matter, Ethelbert?
She's here. The one near the door back there.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah. That's what I said when I first seen her, too. Shall I call her over, Casey?
Ethelbert, do not delay fate.
Okay. She sees me. She's coming on.
Hey, how do I look?
Oh, nothing wrong with a tailor and a barber couldn't fix.
Right here, miss. This here's Mr. Casey I'm pointing to. I didn't get your name.
My name is Laura Neely, Mr. Casey. I hope you'll excuse me, but I just had to meet you.
Well, it is a pleasure, Miss Neely. This is Miss Williams, an acquaintance.
Yes, Mr. Casey has no friends.
I read that honest newspapermen can't afford to make friends. Oh, you're just as I pictured you, Mr. Casey.
Oh, really? Well, now don't go building up any romantic ideas about me, Miss Neely.
But it's true. Well, you reach the public every day. You have great power for good and evil. For influence.
Oh, well, for goodness sake.
Pay no attention to the man behind her.
You wanted to see me about something personal. Is that right, Miss Neely?
Yes, Mr. Casey. It's very personal to me.
Oh, that's okay.
You see, I want some publicity.
Oh, good night.
Publicity? Oh, my goodness.
Well, you see, I'm working for a certain charity, Mr. Casey, and I know that if you give me publicity with your newspaper, I'm bound to collect a lot of money.
I'll bet.
Don't you think so, Mr. Casey?
Not at the moment, Miss Neely. I think Mr. Casey is nursing a case of severe disappointment.
Pardon me?
Never mind. Is that what you've been hanging around for? Free publicity?
Oh, but it's not for myself, Mr. Casey. It's for a worthy cause.
Oh, yeah, I know. The old story. So how do you want your picture? Maybe in a bathing suit?
Well, you've got me all wrong. I'm sure you've heard the City Welfare Fund, and I thought if the newspaper...
Wait a minute. What did you say?
The City Welfare Fund? I'm working for them. I think everyone should help.
Well, why didn't you say so instead of beating around the bush?
You mean you'll help?
Well, I will be glad to help with the City Welfare Fund anytime.
Well, that's wonderful.
But now listen. Every newspaper is collecting for that fund, so what's your special angle?
Well, you know how people are, Mr. Casey. They intend to make a contribution, but they just never get around to it. But I call on them after work, and they're glad to give.
I bet.
Well, do you give all your time to collecting?
Well, as much as I can. You see, I work for Stevens Electrical Company.
Uh-huh.
And after work, then, I see people in the evenings.
Well, it's not a bad angle, you know. Look, I'll do a series of shots of you getting donations from prominent people. Annie, how does this strike you? I'll snap Laura getting a donation from Logan behind his desk down at police headquarters.
I'm filled with enthusiasm at the novelty, dear.
And we can start right now in here. Come on, Ethelbert, kick in,
I'm
buddy.
there with you, brother.
Well, hello, Annie. How's the news department?
Oh, fine, Casey. 1 murder, 2 arsons, and a nightclub fight between 2 movie stars. In other words, I am not writing up that baby-faced spacecracker.
Now, Annie, she's collecting for the City Welfare Fund.
Uh-huh, collecting a lot of glory for herself.
So what? She's working for it, isn't she? Every newspaper guy that I've sent her to has given a donation, even though they'd already given before. Did you know that she's already collected over $10,000?
Must be the perfume she was sporting. Twilight in Paris, guaranteed to land your man.
Look, why don't you give the girl a break, Annie? She's okay.
Is she? Well, I might try, Casey, but I don't go for her.
Why not? You know, the way you hate her.
I don't hate
Well,
her.
all right, the way you dislike her. There's just any reason for it.
Well, I just knew I'd dislike her before I even met her.
See, that's what I mean. Get the phone.
William, city room, police desk.
May I speak to Mr. Casey, please?
Yeah, just a moment. For you, Case, I'll transfer it over.
Okay. Hello, Casey speaking.
My name is Thomas Stevens, Mr. Casey.
Sounds familiar, Mr.
I'm the president of Stevens Electrical Company.
Oh, yeah, that does sound familiar. Mr. Stevens.
Laura Neely is my secretary.
That's right. She mentioned you.
Yes, she told me about you, Mr. Casey.
Mm-hmm.
You've been helping her collect funds for the City Welfare Fund.
Well, Laura, she kind of does all the work, really.
But you are very much interested, aren't you, Mr. Casey?
Well, naturally, I want to see that the fund gets as much money as possible.
Then I'd better tell you, Mr. Casey. I don't know if I should call the police.
The police? What happened?
There may be nothing to it, but on the other hand, Laura left the office with over $10,000 in cash. She was going to take the money to the bank.
When? What time?
During her lunch hour. That's 1 o'clock.
Well, that's 4 hours ago.
Yes, she hasn't returned.
didn't think anything of it at first, but then I began to worry.
Well, did you check with the bank? Did Laura deposit the money?
I called the bank. She has not been there. I'm afraid she's... Well, there could have been an accident or anything, but she had $10,000 with her. Well, what shall I do? Shall I call the police?
No, don't do that. I tell you what, hold everything for a while. Just hold. I'll check on this in. I'll be back with you about an hour or so.
All right. Goodbye, Mr. Casey.
Goodbye.
Oh, I only heard your side of the conversation, Case, but it doesn't sound good.
I should say not. Laura Neely left her office for the bank with more than $10,000 in donations. At 1 o'clock, it's after 5 now. She never got there.
Huh, have you checked the bus terminals and railroad stations?
Oh, wait a minute, Annie. That's unfair. Well, she wouldn't have run off with the dough.
Well, so I'm catty. But where is Laura? And more important, where's the $10,000?
Yeah, that's kind of what worries me. She could have been followed and robbed.
Casey, I work the police desk, remember? I'd be the first one to get a report on a robbery or an assault.
She might be hurt. Yeah, that's it. She might be hurt. She may be unconscious in the hospital right now.
You know, I get reports too, and nothing doing, Casey. Now you better start thinking up some excuses, bud.
Excuses for what?
Well, I will state this as simply as I can. You meet a girl at the Blue Note. You don't know a thing about her.
Now, wait a minute. If I can't judge a person's character after all these years...
Stick to men, Casey. You don't know a thing about women. I should know, and been able to teach you a thing.
Like what?
Well, we'll go into that some other time. But right now, you've accepted a strange girl at face value. You introduced her to all your newspaper friends. Practically forced them to give her money. And what does that make you to all these boys? The biggest sucker in town.
Well, I'll still bet my last dollar that Laura is honest.
Face the facts, Casey. You were taken for a ride. Now, what are you going to tell the boys?
Nothing.
Well, they're going to tell you plenty.
Not if they don't find out. Now, look. So far, her boss, Stevens, is the only one who knows that she's gone.
Oh.
So that gives me a chance to try to find her.
But you'll need police help.
Yeah. Guess I will.
Well, I'll ring up Logan.
Well, look, why don't you just give me the phone? I'll talk to him.
Well, are you sure? You better let me do it. You did get Logan to pose for a picture with Laura. Won't look very good when that story breaks, Case.
Yeah, I'll take my medicine when I have to. Still not sold on the idea that Laura ran out, though. Let me see. Hello? Police headquarters. Hello, Logan. This is Casey. Now, I want you to listen very carefully. Don't interrupt me. Save your comments until I'm finished, okay? Laura Neely has disappeared with over $10,000 she collected.
Come in, Miss Williams.
Well, how are you, Captain?
I'm fine. And who's the gentleman with you?
Cut the comedy, Logan.
The gentleman is Mr. Casey.
Impossible.
Why, Captain?
Because a certain photographer named Casey wouldn't dare show his face around here. Not after what he's done to me.
Go ahead, rub it in.
Well, what did you expect me to do? Roll out the welcome mat for the guy who's made me the laughing stock of the police department? Every paper in town is going to dig up that picture of me handing a donation to Laura Neely. And are they going to go to town? Quote, Captain Logan gives official sanctions to bunco game. Unquote.
Now, hold on, Logan. I admit it looks bad for
Oh, and you also admit that Hitler might have been guilty, I suppose?
Well, if you will cut the sarcasm, we might get to work. Now listen, Laura disappeared. She was carrying 10 grand. Now, lots of guys in this town would knock her off for a lot less. So, why don't you investigate before you jump to conclusions?
You know, Casey, the same thing occurred to me, and I did investigate.
Well, did you find out anything?
Well, not much. Laura Neely was making $55 a week.
Oh.
Then last week, she buys $970 worth of dresses.
So what? Every girl saves for clothes?
Well, yeah, sure. But Laura's personal bank account was $200. And she didn't touch that. And on top of the $970 for dresses, She spent $300 for 2 suits and bought $150 of luggage. Well, when I got those reports, I began to suspect that Laura might have been preparing for a trip.
How about the railroad and bus terminals?
Well, my boys checked them, but not a trace.
Well, see, you see now?
But I found a record of an automobile sale in her name. Yesterday, Laura bought a blue convertible roadster from a second-hand dealer. Today, she's gone.
She bought a car.
Uh-huh.
We'll pick her up in a blue convertible. There aren't that many on the road.
And so we pick her up, then what? We put her on trial. Then the whole story comes out. How she took the wise boys in town, the newspaper men, and the police.
Well, I'll take the blame for that, Logan. Some of the boys will be glad to pass the buck to me.
Yeah.
But if you take all the blame, Casey...
Well, what else can I do, Annie? I fell for her story. I introduced her around.
Well, it might be pretty hard to live down.
Well, who's worried? I can always get a job. Who says I have to be a crime photographer? I can go around snapping baby pictures.
Captain Logan, I'm afraid for him.
Oh, he'll blow his top and then calm down.
Well, I better stay with him. If Casey ever needed me, he needs me now.
Our story will continue in just a moment.
Hey, Tony, got a question for you. Who collects and returns all the empty beer bottles around your house, you or Junior?
Empty beer bottles. Say, has anyone told you about the new Anchor Glass one-way, no deposit, no return bottles?
Hey, that's right. There's no need to save those one-way bottles.
No deposit required, and you never have to return them to the store.
And they're a tremendous convenience, too. They're so light and so compact, and they take up so little space in the refrigerator.
And the Anchor Glass one-way bottle is a glass bottle, and because it's a glass bottle, it brings you beer and ale that tastes as beer and ale should taste.
Unaffected by foreign flavor.
Clean and clear sparkling.
Beer that's brewery bright.
No deposit, no fuss, no empties to be returned to the store.
And when you enjoy the beer, you dispose of the empty bottle just like you would any other food container.
You are the first and the last to use it.
That's right. And that's why the new sanitary Anchor Glass one-way no deposit bottle is sweeping America.
And that's why when you buy beer, you should say that you want your favorite brand in the new Anchor Glass one-way no deposit bottle, a product of Anchor Hockey.
The most famous name in glass.
Casey, wait!
I'm in a hurry, Ann.
Oh, now, Casey, I'm going with you.
Why should you?
Well, I've helped before.
I don't need any help. I'm sorry, Annie.
What are friends for?
Thanks, kid.
Haven't I always?
I know, you have. Sure.
Thanks, Case. But what are we going to do?
Well, we got to find that blonde.
Oh, the police will pick her up.
Well, sure they will, sure. And then I got to get to her first, though. Because if this story ever gets in the papers...
Well, what can you do?
Well, the way I figure it, if Laura was getting ready to leave town, she maybe dropped a hint to somebody.
Well, she doesn't have any family that we know of.
No. You know, her boss is probably closer to her than anybody else.
Oh, you're right.
At least he may have a lead, a girlfriend or a boyfriend. I tell you what, I think we got a call on Thomas Stevens right now.
Great.
If you'll make yourselves comfortable in the library, I'll tell Mr. Stevens you're here.
Thank you.
If I may take your valise, sir?
Oh, that's all right. That's my film case. I'll just set it down right here.
Mr. Stevens will be down directly.
Yeah, we'll wait. Thank you. Boy, the electrical line must pay off plenty. Look at this place.
Uh-huh. Wow, this is a lovely house. Oh, look, an original painting by Van Houten.
Good evening. Do you like my wife's portrait?
Oh, good evening, Mr. Stevens. Your wife is a beautiful woman.
Thank you. Thank you. She's out of town right now, Miss,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Miss Williams, and this is Mr. Casey.
Oh, yes, I spoke with you on the phone, Mr. Casey.
That's right.
Do you have any news of Laura?
Yes, I'm afraid bad news.
Bad news? You mean Laura's hurt?
No. Looks like Laura may have run away with the money that she collected for the city welfare fund.
Oh, that's impossible. I don't believe it.
Yeah. They had a pretty hard time convincing me too, but I can't argue about it anymore. The police found that Laura bought a flock of new clothes and luggage and a car, and then she disappeared.
No, she didn't. And I...
You what?
I donated $300 to her fund myself.
Well, you're in good, smart company, Mr. Stevens. Quite a few people that would like to catch up with Laura. And I'd like your help.
Well, what can I do?
Well, just answer some questions, if you will. You see,
Okay.
the way I figure it, Laura was with you during her working hours. And maybe she dropped a hint as to where she was going.
Nothing that I can remember, Mr. Casey.
Did she ever say that maybe she wished she was in, I don't know, California or Florida or somewhere like that?
No. As a matter of fact, I know very little about her.
So there isn't anything you remember that could give us a lead?
I'm afraid not. As much as I'd like to.
Well, that's okay. We're sorry to bother you, Mr. Stevens.
If I can think of anything, I'll call you, Mr.
I
Casey.
appreciate it. You can reach me down at the newspaper.
Or perhaps the police will catch her first.
Well, maybe. By the time Laura and Neely have run through the money for the welfare fund. Shall we go, Annie?
Yeah.
Well, that visit was a complete bust.
Well, now, I don't know about that.
What do you mean? Stevens didn't know anything.
Well, so he said. Come on, let's get in the car.
Okay, here we are. Go on, get in.
All right.
Now, will you please tell me why you think Stevens knows something?
Casey, I got something I want to show you. Switch on the dashboard light.
Let me find the switch here. Okay,
Now, what do you think of this?
what is it? A tube of lipstick?
Look closer.
Let me see it. Yeah, I think it's lipstick.
Of course, but it's strawberry lipstick. Get it?
Strawberry, huckleberry, raspberry, what difference does that make?
Oh, none to a man, I guess. But this is the lightest shade of lipstick made. It's used by very blonde women.
Keep talking.
Do you remember when I sat down on the couch? Well, I found this lipstick between the cushions. That shows that Laura was in Stephen's library.
Annie, you have got Laura on the brain, and you have ever since you met her. That lipstick could belong to any blonde woman. It may even be Miss Stevens.
Didn't you notice that the portrait of Stephen's wife? She's a brunette. Her shade would be, deep red or purple.
True enough. But that Miss Stevens has got a dozen blonde friends.
Stephen said his wife was out of town, didn't he? Well, none of her friends would come over to visit if she was gone.
I still can't see it though. All right, let's just say, for sake of argument, that
All right.
I agree that Laura was in Stephen's library.
She was.
All right, but does that make any sense? I mean, what would she be doing in there?
Well, maybe she's in love with Stevens.
That old codger? Well, all right, let's see. Now, just suppose. Suppose he was running out of town with Laura. What does he do? He lets her steal 10 grand, which she's collected for the welfare fund. Now, think about this, Annie. Stevens is a very rich man. $10,000 doesn't mean anything to him. So why would he let her take the money and then get the police after him?
Well, when you put it that way.
Sure, that's the facts. Stevens is no dope. So how do you get around that?
Well, I don't know, but I do know that this is Laura's lipstick.
Well, how? What are your reasons?
When something is true, you don't need reason.
Oh, makes sense.
Well, I know this is Laura's lipstick, and you know what? If we could get back into Stephen's home, I bet you could find more clues that she was there.
What? Well, what am I supposed to do? Tell Stevens that I think he's harboring Laura and search the house, or maybe I just need to pull the old gag about reading the gas meter.
All right, get sarcastic if you want to. But I'd get into that house if I wanted to find out something about her.
Let me think about it. I guess I could wait till he left the house, and then I could walk up there and tell the butler that I left my film case there.
Yeah, that's it. And that'll give us a chance to dig around in the library some more.
All right, Annie. But I'm only doing this for one reason.
Oh, what's that?
Well, your intuition was right once about Laura. And even if it's 1,000,000 to 1 against you being right again, I'm not leaving myself open.
Are you sure that that was Stevens in the car that left?
Yeah, I got a good look at him. He's gone.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Casey, but Mr. Stevens left the house shortly after you did.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't come back to see Mr. Stevens. No, in fact, I missed my film case, and I think I left it here.
Film case?
You know that square leather case with a leather strap that you wanted to take before?
Oh, yes, I remember, sir. Will you come in?
Sure, thank you. After you, Annie.
Yes, yes.
You must have left the film case in the library, sir. I'll look.
I'll just come along and pick it up.
Here's the library, sir. Do you remember where you put it?
Well, it's too big to miss. Maybe it's on the other side of the couch. Let me look. No, it's not here. Do you remember what I did with it, Annie?
Well, you might have shoved it under the couch cushion. No, it isn't there.
Hey, what's that over there?
Huh?
Wasn't here before. No, that's too big.
Oh.
That's Mr. Stevens' overnight bag, sir.
Oh,
I placed it there after you left.
I see. Could anybody have picked up my film case after I left?
Oh, it's hardly possible, sir. But I'll ask the maid if you wish.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. I would appreciate that.
I'll only be a few moments.
Just take as long as you want.
Well, yes.
Annie, did you find anything else?
Yeah. Come here, Casey. Near the couch.
What do you mean? I don't see anything.
Smell.
I smell perfume.
Yes, and it's strongest near the couch. Laura has sat here.
Some more intuition, Annie, or some logical reason this time.
I'm sure, Casey. It's fate. It's twilight in Paris, Laura's perfume. I'm sure she was here.
Just might fit in at that, Annie. Annie, I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
What?
Well, first I'm going to take you home, and then I got to go prepare a speech for a tough guy. Then I got to buy a can of paint.
Okay.
You're late, Tom.
I had to be careful driving up here, Paula. Where's Laura?
You're in the cabin.
Did she give you any trouble?
Everything went like we planned. She came to the house with some papers from you, and I offered her a drink. That stuff you put in the liquor kept her out cold.
And nobody could possibly have seen you put her in the car.
Nobody. All the servants had the day off.
Fine. All your friends, Paula, I must have told 1,000,000 people that my wife was out of town for a few days.
This summer cabin of ours is certainly out of town.
Well, where's the blue convertible roadster you drove up?
In back by the fence, naturally. It can't be seen from the road.
Every policeman in the state is looking for that car.
Tom, how did it go in the city? Did the police accept the fact that Laura bought the car and the clothes with the welfare money?
They swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. The blonde wig was an inspiration, Paula. Buying stuff in Laura's name wouldn't have been enough if you didn't fit her general description.
So, they accepted the story exactly as we built it up.
Exactly.
I heard from that newspaper photographer Casey that the police are convinced it was Laura who bought the car and the clothes with the fund money.
Good. And now, when Laura is found dead...
Paula! We have to kill the girl! After all, it's not her fault that I carelessly left my second set of books on my desk.
What difference whether it's her fault or not? She did see the books, and she does know that you didn't pay nearly $1 million in income tax.
Oh, I wish I hadn't listened to you, Paula.
Don't be a fool, Tom. They'll send you to jail. And think about me.
But to kill? Look, Paula, that's murder.
Tom, we can't take chances. If you had to pay fines on the $1 million you held out, we'd be ruined. And you'd go to jail. And no, Tom, I couldn't stand the disgrace.
Well, I don't like it.
Are you falling for her baby face, too? Well, I'll take care of her. I've got too much to lose. Tom, who is that?
All right, put up your hands and...
Tom!
Sergeant Hart, State Police. Keep them covered, boys. Look in the back room. A guy named Casey said we'd find a beautiful blonde around here.
And we'll join the crowd at the Blue Note Cafe in just a moment. You know the old adage, the pot calls the kettle black? Well, maybe you think it's natural for all cooking utensils to become scorched, blackened, and hard to clean. Well, that's because you've been using ordinary pots and pans. But now, when you use Fire King oven glass, that just doesn't happen. Fire King oven glass is a special non-porous surface that's literally mirror smooth, and it doesn't absorb baking stains or odors, and it's amazingly easy to clean. And because you bake, serve, and store leftovers all in the same Fire King dish, you save hours of kitchen drudgery. Now you'll find a wide variety of Fire King casseroles, pie plates, and utility dishes at chain and department stores and wherever household glass is sold. You'll be surprised at the amazingly low prices. Be sure to ask for Fire King oven glass by name. Fire King is a product of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
Casey, I'm about to die with curiosity.
Yeah, me too.
Thank goodness, Annie. Doesn't your female intuition supply all the answers?
All right, so I was wrong about Laura. I now know that Mr. and Miss Stevens are under arrest, and Laura's coming back with the money for the welfare fund.
Casey, Miss Williams, here comes Laura now.
Mr. Casey, you saved my life. You got the police to the Stevens cabin just in time. Why, I could kiss you.
I was just getting ready to like her.
I'm so excited I don't know what I'm saying, Miss Williams. I sure thought I was a goner when I was tied up and Mr. and Mrs. Stevens talking about killing me and, well, everybody thought I'd stolen the fund money, except Mr. Casey, of course.
Well, there were moments when I had my doubts. But to give credit where credit's due, it was Ann who spotted the lipstick and the perfume odor in Stephen's house.
Which started you off on a train of thought.
Yeah. Well, that and the fact that when we came back with that phony excuse, I saw Stephen's bag packed for a trip.
Yes.
So I just decided to see where it went.
And that reminds me, when you left, you said you had to prepare a speech for a tough guy.
Okay.
And buy a can of paint? What did that mean?
Well, I knew that we'd make Stephen suspicious if we followed in a car, so I had to get a plane. Now, who, Annie, would you say is the toughest guy in the world?
A city editor.
That's right, Burke. So, I went to our city editor to authorize use of the news plane. And once I had that, I needed the can of paint to mark the top of Stephen's car so we could follow it.
I see.
So there was a cub reporter, and he phoned the airport when Stevens left, and we spotted the marks on Stevens' car from the air, followed him to his summer cabin in the woods, and from above, we could see that blue convertible they had hidden on the road. So I knew Laura was there.
Well, how'd you let the police know?
Have you forgotten our new Morning Express plane equipped with two-way radio?
Of course.
So there's your story, Annie. You better get back to the office with it.
Oh, but there's lots of other things I just don't understand.
Yeah?
How about coming to the office while I write the story, Case? Just to help a slow-witted pal?
Oh, Miss Williams, I don't think you're slow-witted at all.
Prime photographer starring Scotch Cotsworth as Casey is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures, all products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. This is Tony Marvin saying good night to the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.